Howdy friends, welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Heartgold. This is episode number 31, and as you can see, I put Hoot Hoot back into our PC and took out Rod since Rod is level 31, could use a little bit more training. And Leah is now pretty much caught up with the rest of our team, so we will give her at least a little break. So now that I've had a break as well, it is back to Radio Tower and taking on Team Rocket. My week is finally officially over and I am on break, so I am completely exhausted, but hoping to get in at least an episode or two tonight before I drop into like a 10-hour sleep coma. What's up, Arnie? Good evening, Joe. It's me, Arnie. Were you awake? Yes, it was, otherwise I would not have answered my phone. I'm always with my Venonat. It's so cute, I just love it. I was wondering, do you happen to have Ditto? I can't seem to catch one. Let's talk again, huh? Actually, we do have a Ditto, but I'm not going to trade it because why would I? Okay, we beat this floor already. Trying to remember where we left off here. And I think we faced these two guys, but nobody else. Oh, okay, so we were actually right at the director. If I would have known that, I might have kept going. 5th floor, director's office. Ahem, do you hear me? I am the director. We have decided to broadcast wonderful shows to praise Team Rocket. Everyone, I don't want to hear you complain, just do a good job to, Yikes, I am busy impersonating the... who are you? Oh no, it's you again, Joe? It's Petrol. That's the same guy from the Magikarp, the Mahogany Town Team Rocket hideout. So I guess Petrol's like the resident Team Rocket impersonator. No, I was pretending to be the director to influence the entire region to support Team Rocket. This time I won't hold back. Give me all you've got. So I think we faced the weaker of the 3 directors once each. Or executives, rather. Proton, I think, is one of them. Or is that one of the Team Galaxy guys? Well, anyway, there's the one we fought at Slowpoke Well. There's this guy who we fought in Mahogany Town, and there's the girl we fought in Mahogany Town. So we'll face all 3 of them again, in a different order apparently. And then we'll also face the one guy we haven't fought yet, who is like the lead executive. Or at least has the best Pokemon, in my opinion. Alright, so Coughing is not the best matchup against Rod. Because Coughing is poison, so it resists Brick Break. And none of our other 3 attacks are super effective. So that is about as good as you can hope for against Heracross. It also has very high defense. As you can see, even with a crit, we didn't do a ton of damage, and Rod is only a level higher, so this might actually be a fun battle. Probably not really a challenge, but it shouldn't be a steamroll either. And a Wheezing, okay. I'm gonna say he has like 5 Coughing and a Wheezing, but I hope not, because that'd be really boring. Coughing is slow, so there's not a lot of reason to use Rock Tomb. Best thing to do is just get some damage against it. Yeah, none of my moves really have secondary effects except Rock Tomb, so nothing to do here but keep Shadow Clawing and hope for a crit. That Sludge does a lot of damage though. Luckily I don't think Sludge... Actually, I think Sludge can poison. It's Acid I'm thinking of. Acid doesn't poison you, it lowers your defense instead. Alright, come on Rod. Now would be an excellent time for a critical hit. But we didn't quite get it. That's okay, buddy. You did a good job. You defeated Coughing. Oh, he gets the crit. And did a lot of damage against Wheezing. Let's go ahead and bring in Leah then to finish Wheezing off. And we will be faster, so no need to Rain Dance. I did think about giving Togetic the Choice Specs back, but I think for now I'm going to just hold in my bag. And I went with... what did I go with? I'm not really sure what I went with for Leah, or for Olive. I'm curious, I want to check real quick. Olive, summary, is holding the King's Rock. Okay, that's right. So even though I don't have a flinch move at the moment, I'm between flinch moves, you might say. At least Olive does have a small chance for any of her moves to make the opponent flinch. So if he does have 5 Coughing, which I seem to kind of remember, then this should be a pretty easy sweep, now that Wheezing is out of the way. be entirely honest with you, I don't even remember what he had in our last battle with him. So I'm more remembering back from, like, Gold and Silver. He might have had, like, 3 coughing and a wheezing last time. Now he's just caught some more coughing. I don't know. Level 32. Good job, Leah. Keep up the good work. Looks like we're pretty on par for this part of the game, though. I think the 8th gym leader has a Pokemon at level 40. At least she did in the original games, and it's probably the same here. I don't imagine we're going to get too much XP between now and then, and they'll probably leave it at 40 because she's supposed to be a challenge. What? Am I losing? Hate to say it, but you are. You might want to invest in something other than coughing. I guess coughing and wheezing are like his favorite Pokemon, but really, dude? Also, I'm not sure what level coughing evolves at. I feel like it's like level 40, but you think he would have... If he could have evolved one of his coughing, why not evolve all of them? And what's this? Leah's evolving! I'm glad that we spend some time with Leah as a horsey, because it's tempting just to rush them to evolution right away, but I kind of like when you actually raise your Pokemon and get a real feel for them at each stage of their evolutionary line. Your Leah has evolved into Seadra. Its second stage used to be its final stage back in... Oh, that's a cool little sprite there. I like that. Used to be its final stage in Gen 1, which made it an okay Pokemon, but outclassed by a lot of better water types. But now, as I said, it has a third evolution, which will be really, really cool. Listen carefully. We stashed the real director in the underground warehouse. It's at the far end of the Goldenrod Tunnel. I'm a nice guy. I'll give you the basement key to get to the warehouse. Take it with gratitude. I guess he's hoping for clemency if we take out Team Rocket and they go to court. Otherwise, why would he be helping me? Is this a vending machine? Nope, books and photos. Not quite as exciting. Sounds like my boss's office. See, if I was the boss, I'd have a vending machine in my office. Actually, that's a lie. I probably wouldn't. But that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Except for everybody wanting to come to your office and use the vending machine or repair the vending machine. That would suck. Never mind, bad idea. Okay, so I did notice when we were up on that top floor, the redheaded female executive over in the other part of the tower. I guess that's like the broadcast room. Well, I guess they're all broadcast rooms, but whatever that room is, that's where they are, and that's where they're doing their high-level broadcast. So we need to get a key from the real director or a password or something to open that other door, and then we'll come back. Let's go ahead and heal up since we are going by the Pokemon Center anyway. And then we will head to the underground. I like how they kind of break this mission up by sending you different places. If it was just the radio tower, it would get kind of boring after a while and would seem short, but the fact that you have to leave and explore a different underground area is pretty cool. Makes things a little more interesting. Alright, Rod is feeling better. Always glad to hear that. And that means he is once again in the lead. I did harvest a few citrus berries. They've been growing rather slow because I can't get mulch until we get rid of Team Rocket. But one day. Alright. And I think this might take you out at the department store. No Haircut Brothers, I guess because Team Rocket's in town, everybody's not here. Oh, look who it is. She was not here in the original games. Team Rocket members in black suits have been running around. I was wondering what was going on. So, you took on Team Rocket. You are impressive. You may be able to face the legendary Never mind. I must go now. I like how she does a little spin on her way out. Alright, so we have obviously impressed at least a few of the Kimono girls. There's the basement key. What does this say? No entry beyond this point. So I think this is like the, I guess this whole thing is the basement level of the department store, or is it like the storage area is part of the underground, like for the city? Or maybe they just all like rent out storage space here. That makes sense. Like our old building at work, we had some storage space in the basement of our building where we had a key to. I don't care if you're lost. You show up here, you're nothing but a victim. Yeah, we'll see about that. Only one Pokemon. I was going to guess Raticate, but not quite. Luckily, this will be an easy win. A single Brick Break will quite easily take out that poor little Rattata. I feel really bad for the Pokemon that are owned by Team Rocket. Like, it's not their fault. They're just trained that way, and they're good Pokemon by obeying their trainers, but like, if you're just serving some Team Rocket grunt, that's gotta be, like, the worst. I imagine Pokemon must be really excited to have a really good trainer. Oh, look who it is. I hope we fight him now, because I feel like we're in a good place to fight him, and we haven't actually fought him in a while. But we shall see. Hold it. What I told you before was to deceive you. I thought it would let me tail you, and it would lead me to Lance. Well, he never showed up. No matter. I was planning to beat you after Lance, but since you're here, I will repay my debts. Alright. I was hoping for a battle, and I got one. This was unexpected, but should be fun. Let's see how his team has improved. 5 Pokemon, I like it. His team is almost complete. This might even be our final battle with him until Victory Road. Like most rivals, you do face him at Victory Road. Level 32, Skullbat will be pretty fast, and if it knows like Aerial Ace, that could be really bad because Rod is 4 times weak to flying attacks. Air Cutter, pretty much the same thing. Actually, Air Cutter is better for Golbat because it's a physical attack. This might be a knockout. Nope, not quite. Guess Rod has pretty decent defenses. And Golbat's attack just isn't really that high. Alright, on the other hand, our Rock Tomb didn't do a ton of damage either. Luckily Golbat is slower, so let's use another Rock Tomb and hope for some damage spread maybe, or a crit. Alright, that's the damage spread I was hoping for. Even if the first attack doesn't quite do half of their HP, that doesn't mean you won't 2-KO them. Quilava, also a good choice against Rod. I could switch here, but I don't like giving my opponent free attacks. So, let's use Rock Tomb and see if we're faster. We are not. Okay. Guess I should have switched into Leah, probably would have been the best bet. But you did a good job, Rod. So far, each of us are 1 Pokemon down, and I have 1 more Pokemon than he does, so even if this pattern continues, we'll be in really good shape. I could use Rain Dance to weaken his Quilava even further, but not really much of a point. It'd be more for preparing for the next Pokemon he sends out than for fighting Quilava. That being said, Quilava can learn like Smokescreen, and that would be bad. Magnemite, alright, so he keeps having Pokemon that are advantageous against mine. He doesn't have a Grass type, but Electric is also good. Luckily, Electric does not resist Water type attacks, so Surf it is. In the first game, and in a lot of games, your rival, or at least I think in a lot of games, has like a rotating trio of 3 Pokemon where which ones he uses depends on who his starter is. In this game, though, they didn't go that route. They decide, as far as Grass, Water, and Fire goes, whatever your starter is, that's what he gets. And everything else is just consistent, regardless of what his starter is. So Hunter is faster, and he used Confuse Ray. That is not great news, but we still have a 50-50 chance of attacking. And that time we got a little bit lucky. Let's see how much this does to Haunter. That's actually exactly what I figured it would do. It would be close to a knockout, but probably not a knockout. Mean Look is kind of a waste, because he is about to be KO'd. I would have used like, oh, maybe he's not about to be KO'd. See, if you're going to use Confuse Ray though, I would have done that first. Probably I would do like Confuse Ray and then just keep Shadow Balling. Wow, that was a regular attack, not even a critical hit. Alright, luckily we are no longer confused. Good job, Leah. Haunter and especially Gengar do have very good special attack stat. Shadow Ball is a great attack, it gets same type attack bonus. Therefore a lot of damage. And his last one is Sneasel, a Dark and Ice type. It can evolve into Weevil in this generation, but what is he, like the Joker now? Why so serious? But I don't think his does, unless maybe they add another battle in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which would be awesome, because you could have like Magnezone, he could have Weevil, there's no Mega Gengar yet, but it'd still be a nice improvement to his team. Alright, so Sneasel's probably faster, but let's give it a try. Well, even if it wasn't faster, it knows Quick Attack, and it critted. Ah! So Leah knows Poison Point, or has the ability Poison Point, even though it's not Poison type. Very interesting. Alright, so at least it did get poisoned. I don't think that'll matter too much. You know what? Let's send out Crude. Fire and Rock are both super effective against Sneasel because it is part Ice type. It's faster, but it must not know any Ice type attacks. In fact, if I recall correctly, Sneasel, it's really hard to teach Sneasel any Ice attacks. At least in Gen 2, I think it was. It can learn Ice Punch, which is a pretty decent move for it now. In fact, that's really Weevil's big downside, is that it can't learn any high power moves. Why? Why do I lose? I've assembled the toughest Pokemon. I didn't ease up on the gas, so why did I lose? Because you gotta train harder, you gotta evolve them, you should have a team of 6, and you should treat them with respect. I don't understand. Is what that Lance guy said true? That I don't treat Pokemon properly? Love, trust, are they really what I lack? Are they keeping me from winning? I just don't understand. But it's not going to end here, not now. Not because of this. I won't give up my dream of becoming the world's best Pokemon trainer. Alright, we'll see about that. I do like how they have some character growth for your rival. Let's bring out Cian. At least until we get a chance to heal up Rod and Leah. We'll probably stop by the Pokemon Center on the way back to the radio tower. One door open, another closes. Bet you can't get where you want to go. So I really don't remember this area too much. In fact, until I got back here, I didn't remember it at all. I knew that it existed, but I didn't remember what it looked like. Alright, so Muck is quite a few levels lower. Muck has a pretty good defense stats. Let's use Fire Blast, which will be our best attack anyway, but I kind of want to save them because they have only a few power points and they might miss. Muck is a good Pokemon to save them for. Almost level 34. I don't know if a Fire Punch will defeat Coughing or not. It does have good defense. Ah, not quite. So close. So like I was saying about Weevil, though, it has a really good attack and really good speed. What holds its back is that it has a pretty lackluster move pool. It's a attacking Pokemon, a physical-based Pokemon. You can teach it special attacks, and they might have like niche uses, but I think Weevil's special attack stat is actually pretty low. So you really want to teach it physical moves. However, the only good physical stab attacks it can learn are like Ice Punch, which is base power of 75, and I don't even think it can learn Crunch. I think it has to learn like Feint Attack, which is I think base 60, base 70. It could probably learn a couple other like weird dark type attacks, but you really want at least Crunch, which is a base power of 80. It's kind of like the standard physical dark attack. And I don't think Weevil can learn it. So even if it could, it would still be level 80 base power move. So even then, it's really not that great. It'd be really nice to have like a 95 or 100 base power move. So for that reason, I've never been as much of a fan of Weevil as most people are. I'm not sure what the colored tiles here are. Let's just keep clearing out these grunts for now. Fork over your goods. That's not a verb you hear people use very often. Fork, as in fork over. Oh, it's a burglar, okay. So not just Team Rocket here, I guess they've done some contracting. Once again, I'm thinking Fire Punch may or may not defeat it, so let's go with Fire Blast. I think the odds of Fire Blast hitting it are better than the odds of getting a good damage spread on Fire Punch. And really, it's kind of cool how, by this stage in the game, almost every attacking type has like a standard move. I always knew that, but I never really like consciously thought about that until just now. And there is some variation to it, because of course not all Pokemon can learn every attack, but there's usually 2 moves of each type that almost every good Pokemon of that type can learn. Hey, mirror match, Magmar versus Magmar. My money is definitely on Cian. So for example, for fire, it would be Flamethrower for special, and I would say Flare Blitz for physical. You could also argue that Fire Punch is a little more common, but I think in if you have a Pokemon that could learn Fire Punch or Flare Blitz, you probably want to go with Flare Blitz. Fire Punch is only base power of 75, Flare Blitz is 120. The downside is that Flare Blitz does recoil damage, but for 45 more base power, I will definitely take that. At least later in the game when you face really powerful foes. If you're just facing like Rocket Grunts, not really as useful. But the nice thing about high-level moves like that are that you tend to learn them late in the game anyway, so by the time you learn them, you're probably getting ready for like the last gym, the Elite Four, and the end game. Kind of like we are, although I wouldn't say we're anywhere close to end game quite yet. Even the end game here isn't really the end game. So this is not great. Growlithe knows Intimidate, so there goes my attack stat. And my only special attack is Fire type. So that's not great news. I think my best attack is probably Fire Blast then, even though it's not very effective. I don't think it'll one-shot Growlithe, but I wouldn't be completely shocked. Alright, I am not completely shocked. Fire Blast is a very powerful move coming off a Pokemon that has a good special attack stat, and is, what was it, 9 levels higher? Of course, now we have no Fire Blast left for Coughing, so that is why power points matter, and because of the attack drop, Fire Punch will not be a one-shot, but it will be a two-shot, and I don't mind taking a tackle. One thing I really like about Magmar, and I guess Seadra as well, but really Magmar, is that even though it's a one-stage Pokemon, it's one of the one-stage Pokemon that's really meant to compete with other final stage Pokemon. When it comes to Pokemon with 2 evolutionary stages, it tends to be that the first one is kind of in common with like the first stage of the 3-line Pokemon, and then the second one is somewhere between the second and third. So in other words, let me give you an example. So Venonat and Venomoth. And this bear may not be true stat-wise, but I think Venonat is probably about the same as Squirtle, more or less. It's kind of a weak Pokemon in general, so maybe that was a bad example. But it's somewhere in its league. And then Wartortle is better than them, and then Venomoth is better than Wartortle, but Blastoise will be better than Venomoth. Or the Aber line and the Drowsy line are a good example. I think Aber and Drowsy are pretty comparable. Maybe Drowsy has a slight advantage. Then Kadabra is better than Drowsy, clearly. And Hypno is better than Kadabra, and Alakazam is better than Hypno. So that's usually the way things work out with 2- and 3-stage lines. Not always, that's a huge generalization, but as a rule of thumb, it's quite often true. It's usually the Pokemon with 3 stages that end up maxing out with the most power. Then again, you have like Skiploom and Ampharos, which are good contrary evolutions to that theory. But what I like about the single-stage Pokemon is that they could really fall anywhere in that range. They could be I don't know what's a good example. Dunsparce, who's pretty weak overall. It's more in line with maybe like a Wartortle type. So okay, so I get it. The switches are color-coded to the puzzle. So that's what the floors mean. Okay, so green affects those doors. So I guess I need to just cycle them, because there's only 3 switches here, so this puzzle can't be that hard. So you just hit them each once and then you go through? That was almost too easy. Okay, in case you need to heal up, you can just come out here, but I think we're good for the time being. I don't think there are any Team Rocket bosses down here, but I could be wrong. Are you lost? You can't be. You don't have that scared look. I'll give you something to be scared about. So what's another... Like Quillfish might be a good example. Well, Quillfish is actually... I wouldn't put Quillfish on like the Squirrel stage. It's a little better than that. I'm sure there are Pokemon, though, that don't evolve and are actually really low on the totem pole. A lot of probably Minun and Plusle are good examples. I think as far as their stats go, they're actually very weak Pokemon. Or Pachirisu, I don't think is that good. There's another example. Love Disc is another good example. Then there are Pokemon that are kind of maybe more in line with your Wartortles, like Stantler would be. What's another good example here? Maybe Tangela back when it was only 1 stage. And then you have Pokemon like Magmar when it was 1 stage, or obviously all the legendaries, or like Lapras, who are as good as, if not better than, most final evolutionary Pokemon. Tauros. So what's cool about Magmar is it was kind of one of those Pokemon. It was on par with maybe not quite on par with like your Blastoises and your Charizards, but it was probably on par with like Nidoking and Hypno, Muck, all those guys. So the fact that it gets an evolution now, which is a big stat boost, makes it a really, really powerful Pokemon. We'll keep seeing out for a little while longer. He seems to be doing pretty well, even without his Fire Blast anymore. And I think Magmortar has a average base stat total of 90. Again, this is just a rule of thumb because there are a lot of Pokemon who have bad stats but a really good ability or just really good stat allocation and move pool and are actually really strong Pokemon. Alakazam is a great example. I think it has like a base stat average of like 80 or 83. So that's on the low end of okay. Or on the low end of viable. But because of its move pool and its speed and special attack power, it's a really good Pokemon. Not quite a knockout there. But generally, any Pokemon... Oh, there we go. Got a burn. That'll save us a power point on one of our moves. Generally, you want a Pokemon to have at least a base stat average of around 80 to be worthy of training. Ooh, Lava Plume. That could be a good move. So, let's see what Lava Plume does. Base power of 80, may inflict burns. I think Lava Plume might be like the discharge of fire-type moves, so it might have like a 30% burn chance instead of a 10% burn chance. So that's kind of the trade-off with Flamethrower. Flamethrower has 15 more base power, but a 20% less burn chance. Obviously, I'd rather have Flamethrower, but we don't have access to that yet. So I am going to go ahead and learn Lava Plume. Do not give up on Lava Plume. The question is, should we replace Fire Punch? Or I don't want to replace Fire Blast because there might be some Pokemon that I can't knock out with Lava Plume that Fire Blast would still be useful for. I'm a little hesitant to replace Fire Punch just because there might be Pokemon that have a really high special defense stat but a weaker physical stat, in which case a Fire Punch would be the better move. But even so, I don't think it's going to be that much better unless you face like a Blissey or something, which is not very likely. And I do want to keep Headbutt because there are some Pokemon that Pain Attack and Fire Punch are both not very effective against. In fact, some of them might be coming up soon. So Fire Punch has been good to us, but let's go ahead and replace it with, what's it called? Lava Plume. And if Lava Plume works the way I think it does, then at least it has a better burn chance than Fire Punch regardless. Alright, so since Cian is a little bit low on HP, it's out of Fire Blasts, and it's level 36, let's bring out Groot for a bit. And onward we go. I see an item ball. So, yeah, generally I would recommend when you're building a team, try to get Pokemon that are mostly above an average base stat total of 80. Anything from 80 to 90 is a pretty solid Pokemon, and that's where the vast majority of your kind of, I don't want to say average to above average Pokemon fall. So Raticate would be less than that, I'm pretty sure. But like Muck is a good Pokemon. Golbat would be lower, but Crobat is actually, yeah, Crobat is like a base stat total of 90, I think. It's actually pretty good. It's just a lot of those points are into speed, so it's not really bulky. It doesn't have a super high attack stat, but it is very, very fast. Things like Ampharos or Steelix or Miltank, Executor, all those Pokemon kind of fall in that range. All the starters pretty much fall at the upper end of that range. The Evolutions all fall at the upper end of that range. I think they have an average of 87.5. Can't use Dig, so Rock Slide it is. And if you have a Pokemon with base power 90, that's generally considered like one of the most powerful Pokemon that's not like a special Pokemon in some way. Well, that's not good. Alright, this could be very tough then, but let's hope our Rock Slide hits, and it does. So an example of a Pokemon with base power at or around 90 would be Kingdra, Magmortar, Togekiss, 3 of ours in fact. So we have a pretty solid team actually. I'm pretty impressed by this one. In fact, a lot of the Gen 4 final stages, Payback, Dark type move, it's not better than Dark Bolt. Well, so Payback is only 50 power, but if they attack first, it does double damage, so 100 base power. And Pupitar is fairly slow. Even Tyranitar is fairly slow. I would eventually like to replace this with Crunch, but until then, as a slow Pokemon, this might be actually very useful, because in a lot of cases it'll be better than Crunch. I wish I could check my Pokemon stats. I don't think it'll let you right now, but I'm pretty sure Kroot's special attack is low enough that Payback will do about the same as Dark Pulse, probably, even if I go first. And in the cases where I go second, it'll do a heck of a lot more. So let's keep Screech and get rid of Dark Pulse. And we'll check our stats after this, and hopefully that's not a mistake. Other examples of Pokemon besides those in Gen 4 would be like Haxorus is base 90. Don't really want to talk to Chrissy right now. Oh, okay, I guess I have no choice. Good evening, Joe. It's me, Chris. Were you awake? My Oddish is doing great. What do you like best? I don't want to say in front of my Pokemon. Well, I guess Kroot is out, so I like Kroot the best, which actually, I don't know. I don't think I have a... Kroot's going to probably be the most powerful by the end of the game. I mean, they're all going to be really powerful in their own way. That's what I love about this team. Each one of them has something to bring to the table, and at least has a particular area of strength. Actually, most of them are pretty solid Pokemon all around. I mean, as a Pokemon, I think Togekiss is my favorite of these 6, but really I love Kingdra, I love Tyranitar, Magmaritar's okay, Meganium's okay, Heracross is okay. Like, I like all these Pokemon, which is why I chose to train them, obviously. Alright, speaking of Olive, let's go ahead and bring Olive out. If I can actually figure out how to switch. Alright, and we are at the half-hour mark, but let's see if we can keep going and finish off the warehouse. I think we've got to be almost done. I think that's him down there. How'd you get this far? I guess it can't be helped. I'll dispose of you. So anyway, finishing my list, Gyarados is an average of 90. I think Noivern is, Melodic is. For a while there, I had like a category of Pokemon I called quasi-legendaries. So if pseudo-legendaries are Pokemon that aren't legendary, but have a base stat total of 100. I kind of wish I had extrasensory still, but Shadow Ball will have to do. Pokemon that have a base stat total of 90, they tend to be also used by powerful trainers in the game, so Gyarados is a great example, Melodic, Haxorus, Kingdra, and then Generation 4 added quite a few Pokemon that Lapras I think might be based at 90 or very close to it. Arcanine is randomly 92.5, so it's actually a really good Pokemon. That's one of the reasons it's one of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon. Plus, who doesn't like Arcanine? It's a giant fluffy dog. Like, if I was a Pokemon trainer, I would have to train an Arcanine. Like, they're just awesome. Probably one of my top 5. Who's my top 5? I don't really know. It changes, but maybe I'll have to think about that before next episode. Alright, Director. So anyway, long story short, if you're building a team, anything weaker than average of 80 is going to be kind of hard to train. Not that you can't do it, because these games are pretty easy, but it might require more healings items or more training before you do gym battles, etc. Ooh, Sleep Talk. Don't need that, because none of our Pokemon know rest, and that's really the only time you want to use it. Who? What? You came to rescue me? Thank you. The radio tower. What's happening there? Taken over by Team Rocket? Oh, here, take this card key. Thank you very much. Use that to open the shutters on the 3rd floor. I'm begging you to help. There's no telling what they'll do if they control the transmitter. They may be even able to control Pokemon. That's not good. Alright, well, I will do my best, Director. You can count on me. Let me just check out. Actually, you know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead and end this here, because there's probably not much more in this quest line. So we'll finish that when we come back. Anyway, hopefully you guys, if you didn't already know about Pokemon stats, learned a little bit from my ranting. So based at 90 is great, based at 80 is fine, anything in between is nice and worth training. That's about all I have to say on that matter. So, thank you guys once again for watching. I am starting to get my second wind here, so I'll do at least one more episode. So I will see you all then.